Hi and welcome to our program. Today we are visiting Viera, Collaro's and Shoplifters exhibition here at Aarhus. Let's check it out. Hi Maria.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're more than welcome.
So what do you want to show us today?
I want to show you this solo presentation by an artist called Viera Collaro. And the title of the show is called Levitation, Compassion, Transcendence. And altogether it mimics this combination of three artworks that also represents three spiritual stages.
Okay.
So it's not only about the outer light, but also the inner light, and about this process of ritual that you as a viewer go through.
So it's more like a journey type of thing?
It's more like a journey, exactly.
And the three things are related?
Yes and no. Altogether, curatorially, we have put them together because, of course, they link to each other content-wise. But actually, the two first artworks are from 2003, and the second one is from 2006. So these are two earlier works, whereas the last one is from 2022, made especially for this show. I will come to that later.
Wow.
Viera Collaro she was born in 1946 in Czechoslovakia, actually. And she had, when she was a child, they had to flee because of the war.
But she's Danish?
She wants to be called a Danish-American artist, actually, although she's born in Czechoslovakia. But that's because when she was 4 or 5 years old, her and her family had to flee the country. And then during her entire childhood, she's been living in Turkey and Vienna and the United States mostly, among other places, and then Denmark. But she's been living most of her life in the States and in Denmark, and that's why she feels more attached to these two countries.
Yeah. Wow, that is really cool.
So that's why you see her in writing being an American-Danish artist. However, yes, because I think, or she tells herself that her childhood has been,
like a very unstable kind of?
Very unstable.
Because she's moving
she felt
all
a
the
lot
time.
of stress and things that has been troubling her entire life. But then she found peace with meditation practice. And that's been a great tool helping her, find inner peace and also clarity and also creativity and inner strength, etc. And that's why you'll experience going through these artworks that they kind of represent her interest in the spiritual also. So with an art piece like this called Levitation, which is also like a level within a meditation practice that describes a situation where when you concentrate doing meditation on, grounding and breathing and everything, you can be so good at it at some point, and this is according to several yogis or other experts within the esoteric and so to speak. But doing a very hard kind of training within meditation, you can experience levitating, and that's of course for most of us mostly
like
in a
symbolical
sense and not in a physical sense. But you have seen sci-fi movies with the great Yoda or others actually levitating.
That would be so cool.
So this is a piece about her experiencing meditation and what it brings her. So it's a piece. You were saying that it's a piece levitating? Yeah, it's called Levitation, it's about levitating, but it's also about light, of course. And light is energy, everyone knows that, and it's photons and physics and about the movement of light, and so to speak, that also creates different colors, color effects that we see with our eyes and experience with our eyes, but Viera Collaro is also very interested in an inner light, so to speak.
Okay. Like it's a lot of focus on like the inside.
The inside, but also the outside, and also
Okay.
the aesthetics of light as well. And also she's very, very, you know, super interested in color theory as well, and interference, like how light moves and changes, how it's very unchangeable in accordance with our movements when we move around a space. The colors changes. So this lively element that describes the essence of light is something on the outer, you know, when we talk about outer light or real light, we see with our own eyes. She's very interested in that as well. And the piece here, when you come from the outside, now the door is open, so it doesn't really show in the way it's supposed to.
Good timing.
Yeah. And the closest now, the colors you can see becomes more intense. And this sculpture or installation is created by these aluminium
like frames?
Frames, exactly, with pre-made glass inserted into them. And they kind of create, and there's this pattern on the surface of the glass. And it creates this effect of...
It's very playful.
It's very playful. And also when you film it or take a photograph, it's like moving. So it's very unchangeable and alive, so to speak.
Wow. So she designed it like the shapes also?
No, it's actually like it's pre-made.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's just really interested in also blurring the surface. So it's not like a pure, like a clean window, for example, that you can see through. But this blurring of the light also creates an effect of being like in hinne, how do we call that in English? Like a surface, almost like a membrane kind of that.
Like translucid type of
translucid
thing.
kind of membrane that the light shines through, so it becomes kind of like a body enlightened by the light behind it. Does it make sense?
Yes, I see where it goes.
Yeah,
it's like your inner light going out of
at least she wanted
to
create like something that breaks the light and that the light breaks through, kind of that creates other effects. Because when you walk around the installation, then you see that the light that we experience from this side is actually these neon lights hung in a very minimalistic way, still coordinated, of course. You see we have the red, green, red, and then a white space. And then a new pattern starts with the blue, the orange, the blue, the orange, a new white neon light, and then light blue, another yellow, pattern. Light blue, and so forth.
Yeah.
And of course she knows how different the colors work within each other as complementary colors, as primary colors, and so forth. And then, as you can see, she's also very inspired by the whole minimalistic art scene that came through around the 60s and 70s in the States especially. And she was there during that time. So, of course, she's been working with light and installation arts and in this minimalistic way ever since, you know, the 60s and the 70s. So it's at one point it's very powerful, very colorful, very noisy, and at the same time it's very minimal, calm, stringent, or like tight in its visual language. So it's about dynamics and life and color, and then of course humans, our tendency to try to calm that or frame that or understand it as well, like the rational aspect of it.
Need to put things in the box so we can understand.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and actually from the other side, like each of the frames have its own color, kind of.
Yeah, it's because these colors shine through. So
wow,
like that it creates this beautiful.
Yeah. I cannot even imagine. Like, so basically, this is like the backstage, kind of. Like you're supposed to see it from the other side, right?
Yeah. You can see it. You are allowed to walk around it. So it just gives you different kinds of experiences while moving. So and that's you have to be an active viewer, going around exploring her pieces.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you can really dig into all of these things and explore further also with regards to color theory and
Yeah, that seems really
interest
interesting.
in that. Yeah, exactly.
And it seems so simple, but now that I'm trying to understand, like it's so complex actually. Like even the way that she works.
It is. It's
really
complex, but at the same time, it's also really like simple because we're used to, you know, light and color are intertwined with one another, and light is what shapes and gives color to the world surrounding us. So it's like so closely connected with the way we see and experience the world around us. So it's very essential.
Yeah.
And there is no earth or is no life without the sun shining on us, and you know. So light is extremely important in terms of, you know, creating life and energy as well. And Viera Collaro is aware of that.
Does she also work with the sound, or it's more visual?
It's more visual. It's installation art. It's also painting actually, but not so much recently. And light, of course, but also words, like strong statements, like compassion, which we will look at in a while. And then she's been throughout, especially the past 20 years, she's been doing a lot of artworks in the public space. And actually we have 3 works in and around Aarhus City that she has created. On the backside of the music hall Atlas. On the backside facade, there's a piece by her. And also at the Nobelparken, here in Aarhus at the university. I think it's maybe psychology who belongs or has the departments there. She has created a piece called Tonalities that also runs along the facade. And then in Randers, the city pretty close to Aarhus, she has also made a circle called, or a piece called Ringen, which is hung up above the entrance of the cultural house. Placed there in Randers. So I think many people might have noticed her in the cityscape of Aarhus without maybe knowing that she's actually the artist or designer behind those public decorations.
So lately she has been focusing more in these installations, right? But you mentioned also something about paintings. Like, did she try a lot of other things?
She's been painting as well, yeah, but again in a very minimalistic visual language, you know, squares and lines with color and white and so to speak.
Wow, interesting.
So,
should we go to the next one?
Yes.
So this next one is compassion?
This is compassion, yes.
Okay. Wow.
And Viera Collaro, she works very intuitively. I interviewed her myself for our magazine, which will be published here in a month's time or so. And she kind of explained the whole process behind her, how she works. And she's talking about how when she sees a space like this, for example, then the ideas comes to her like in an intuitive way, and she's very, very quickly, she settles, I want to show levitation, then compassion, and then create a new work
so
for the exhibition.
She basically came here to check the place, and then she already knew
then she could
everything.
See, it would make sense to show 3 pieces like this. And then, of course, things develop from there. But you know, looking back, she was like, I felt, you know, it was right. It was the right choice. It actually works. And although this piece or this space is rather big and very airy as well, she's happy that she chose to show compassion in here, because it's an important word about empathy, about, you know, understanding one another, supporting one another as humans. So the signs are made of polished brass, it's called, and the letters are like 1 meter high. So it's almost like this large corporate logo, who is like insisting on, you know, getting our attention. We must not oversee this statement or this word, compassion, because it's so important to Viera Collaro. And in addition to the words, she has added 3 colored circles, the blue, the red, the green, which are these primary colors. But you can see when they interact, a third space or another space appears. We have the pink or purple, created by the relation between the red and the blue, and then the yellow that stands out in between the green and the red. Yeah. So, and of course the circles are also about her interest in color theory and all of that, but it's also about when different people come together, new kinds of energies and interactions appear.
That's
so
really
it's
beautiful.
It's very much about interaction as well, and the new element that awakens within that meeting.
Okay. Wow, I would never think about it actually. Yeah. Again, so simple but so complex.
Yes, and again, it's very noisy. It's almost like a disco visual kind of aesthetics, but at the same time, it's very sublime and calming too. Yeah. So it has both elements integrated within it in one work. And you can also just sit on the bench and meditate a little bit, just stare at the colors, and it's you kind of feel how they uplift you and gives you energy as well, and peace, inner peace. So, but I think this work, Compassion, although it's from 2006, it kind of makes sense, at least today, where we have war in Ukraine, and it understates the importance of caring and standing together, helping one another, trying to understand, what we come from, and that although we look different, we don't have to be, all of us are humans, so so that's a very big message that comes out of that.
And so beautiful. Do you know if there's any particular reason why she didn't, how do you say, like played with the rest of the colors? Like she could have also put the green and the blue together, or like the 3 of them. Like, do you know something about it?
She did consider once whether they should have a little bit of movement, like whether they should turn around. But she chose not to, because the light in the last piece is actually moving very slowly. So she also thinks about like the entire rhythm and how the 3 work all together as a journey, or et forløb hedder det på dansk.
Okay. Wow.
And then as you can see, there's some pink light also surrounding it.
Of course that's on
and
purpose.
And then of course pink is also, the color of love and.
Okay. Yeah, it's very warm also feeling and everything. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, this does really remind me of like the theory of color and everything.
It's like the basics. And then when you do a piece like this in a new space, actually we discovered that if we go around here and stand close to the wall over here, the shadows that reflects on the walls also implements like this rainbow effect.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful also.
Yeah, you have like 3 of you.
So this is something you can't really predict.
Yeah.
When planning a show like this, it's an extra element, an extra small surprise. Magic happens once.
Wow.
So that's also really nice.
Yeah. Did she find out when she was here, or did you?
Yeah, she just saw. She didn't know that effect would happen.
Wow. Yeah, that is a really nice touch. Yeah.
So, and then her new masterpiece, according to me, is this piece in here called Transcendence.
Okay. Wow, this seems really cool already.
We've been adding these quiet zone signs because it's very important that you kind of walk through it very carefully, calmly, and not like run wildly through it, because I think when you, as a visitor, enter, you really want to also just
like feel it, kind of.
Yeah,
like
you kind of feel it, but I also think because it's, as you can see, the light is moving, but in a very slow tempo. It's almost like it's mimicking the rhythm of our breath. So it's like,
okay, yeah,
so,
very
it's
calm zone. Makes sense.
It's similar to when you meditate, for example, and you kind of become very aware of your breathing, and your cells starts to relax and everything, and you go into a more relaxed state of mind also. And of course, she wants to create a space that helps you along the way to do so. So we. So as it says on the wall, please enter the artwork softly. And the idea is that you can go through the piece. You are allowed to do so. And maybe you guys should do so all alone. But just to add a little info on the title Transcendence, also in relation to the other two. This is like the third level of the tour here. And transcendence is characterizing the moment when an individual is actually going through something new or moves outside his or her comfort zone and learns something new and elevates, becomes wiser somehow, whether it's on, life that just matures you or lifts you to another level in terms of understanding the world around you and your inner self as well. So it can also move you closer to a new
like your best self, kind of? Like your true self?
Yeah. It gives you the possibility to connect with your true self, actually. So maybe I should just stop talking now and then let you two go through it and then meet you on the other side, because it's like you have to go on your own path. You can only do this for yourself. And then maybe you can feel, your inner voice or whatever going through it. At least that's, she wants to create a scene where that is possible.
Okay. So this is more like individual type of
you can also go with some, but I think it works best if you do it on your own.
Okay.
Because it's like entering another world, another inner world somehow.
Wow.
And it's as you can see, it's very like delicate and feminine, and it's like air moving, again, like a breath. Or an ocean or whatever. It's also very tall. It's created of these white curtains from the ceiling to the floor. So it's almost like church-like, or, again, it's a meditation zone somehow, the whole exhibition is.
Yeah. It really makes me feel small.
Yes, exactly. It's supposed to make you feel like.
So that's really nice. Wow, I think it's the first time that I see something like art so related to meditation and like this inner growth and
it's more
and
direct,
everything.
but again, she's not religious as such. She's just like wants to point out to us that we are more than just a physical body. That there is something called a soul or something, an inner world, giving us ideas, making us reflect, making us feel. All of that inner part of each and every one is something that we should not degrade or, talk about on serious ways, but really,
be serious about it. And
be serious,
really,
because that's where change starts. If you can understand yourself and feel clarity and peace and everything, then you also withhold some inner power to create outer change. So that's, I think, the main point of everything.
And I also find it very interesting that it's like 2003, 2006, 2022, and it's still related. It's
universal. All these core values embedded within her meditation practice. Also, makes sense today.
Wow. Okay.
But I think you two should just wander through alone, if that's okay, and then
we'll
meet
on the
other side.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So soft.
just sit here, just staring at the colors changing very slowly. It's like you feel the piece, right? Or is it just me?
Yeah, no, it's really peaceful.
Yeah. And also Viera, as mentioned, she's born in 1946. So when she was a kid, the first cinema movie she explored was, in her age at that time, you could only see black and white films on television, and so to speak. And then she went to the movies with her mom and her siblings, and saw The Wizard of Oz, which is one of the first movies of this little girl entering a colorful world where everything is, suddenly changed into Technicolor.
Yeah.
So that was a huge experience to her that has kind of, influenced her in her work ever since. And you can also kind of sense the rainbow colors in this piece also,
really.
like this kind of candy, these
really,
soft candy colors, kind of candy flush.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to find some words to describe it, but it's really hard. But I think like a nice cloud.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cloud.
It's
like lying on the back, watching the clouds slowly, moving on the sky. It's the same pace that the work mimics.
Yeah.
So, but again, also, it's she composed it with these specific colors, and they've used a lot of time programming it as well with the color programmer. So she knows exactly what colors should, appear at what time and all of that. And then, of course, the different colors that she has chosen, once they interfere, they create, as we saw in the earlier piece, they create new colors as well. So it's all about integration and overlap between various colors as well, and the effects this creates also.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's about it, I have to say.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You also mentioned that you interviewed her. Maybe you can share a little bit of...
I'll be happy to. It's in Danish though, but it will be published in our... For all our members. If you are a member of ARAS, you will receive an ARAS magazine. With interviews and articles and other information about what's going on at ARAS. So become a member if you're not.
So you cannot give us a little pic?
I already have given you a lot of what we talk about there, but
if there's something that pops up
she just on a deeper level explains how she works, why she's so interested in the inner aspect of light as well, and all of that.
That was it for today. Thank you so much for staying with us. See you next time.